Total control. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bong, bong. Bing, 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 bong, bong, bing, bing.
Okay, this is my follow-up video from the original part 1 of Les Wexner and more. In this video I'm going to get into a lot more detail about things I just touched upon in the first video. So where to begin? I'm going to carry on from the Epstein connections because I've done some more research and I've come across a few other connections that are pretty interesting. So we'll start with his plea deal. Now I'm sure many of you know, but Jeffrey Epstein got a very light sentence. Okay, so the person who agreed to this plea deal was Alexander Acosta, and it was a non-prosecution deal with Epstein through his attorney Alan Dershowitz a decade ago, rather than pursuing a federal indictment that Acosta's staff had advocated. So right there you've got a few red flags have got to go up of why Epstein wouldn't be tried for federal crimes, considering he's committed federal felonies. So Dershowitz has played a key role in negotiating a secret provision in Epstein's plea deal that immunized any potential co-conspirators from federal prosecution. So it's not just Epstein that's escaped federal prosecution. Any future or anybody linked to conspiring with Epstein is also immune from federal prosecution in this plea deal. So I have here the official wording of the agreement from the plea deal. The evidence collected by the investigators and crimes Epstein pled guilty to are federal crimes that involved knowing and willingly conspiring with others, known and unknown, to commit an offence against the United States. That is, to use a facility or means of interstate or foreign commerce to knowingly persuade, induce or entice minor females to engage in prostitution in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 2422B, all in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 371. Knowingly and willingly conspiring with others, known and unknown, to travel in interstate commerce for the purpose of engaging in illicit sexual conduct as defined in 18 United States Code Section 2423F with minor females in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 2423E. Then there is using a facility or means of interstate or foreign commerce to knowingly persuade, induce or entice minor females to engage in prostitution in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 2422B, and travelling in interstate commerce for the purpose of engaging in illicit sexual conduct as defined in 18 United States Code Section 2423L with minor females in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 2423B, and knowingly in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce, recruiting, enticing and obtaining by any means a person knowing that the person had not attained the age of 18 years and would be caused to engage in a commercial sex act defined in 18 United States Code Section 1591A 1 and 2. Another interesting note in the plea deal is that Epstein would only be charged with one count of solicitation of prostitution in violation of Florida State Section 796.07. In addition, Epstein would plead guilty to an information filed by the state's attorney office charging Epstein with an offence that requires him to register as a sex offender. that the solicitation of minors to engage in prostitution in violation of Florida State's Section 796.03, there is another important clause in the deal's terms of agreement, number 7, that states the United States will provide Epstein's attorneys with a list of individuals whom it has identified as victims, as identified in Title 18, United States Code Section 2255, after Epstein has signed a plea deal agreement and has been sentenced. Upon the execution of this agreement, the United States, in consultation with and subject to the good faith approval of Epstein's counsel, shall select an attorney representative for the persons whom shall be paid for by Epstein's counsel may contact the identified individuals through that representative. So we can assume this was part of an intelligence gathering attempt by Epstein's legal team that Dershowitz was part of to figure out which victims had spoken to the authorities, to know how much the investigators knew and what damage control needed to be carried out, who they had to pay off and silence, etc. We already know that the FBI had more information and had more charges to bring against Epstein. So clearly people have been bought off and have been paid not to pursue any more legal action against Epstein. A vitally important part of this whole situation is that the United States Attorney Alexander Acosta, who agreed to this amazingly one-sided plea deal, was Donald Trump's nominee for the US Secretary of Labor and has since been appointed to that position. So amazingly, we have Donald Trump connections popping up again, and he just happens to benefit someone who benefited his friend Jeffrey Epstein and himself. The next problem that crept up about this plea deal is that it was never supposed to go public. Term agreement number 13 states the parties anticipate that this agreement will not be made part of any public record. If the United States receives a Freedom of Information Act request or any compulsory process commanding the disclosure of the agreement, it will provide notice to Epstein before making the discourse. You can only assume that the privilege given to Epstein, that he would be given notice of people filing a Freedom of Information request, and then he would be given the notice, so he could be forewarned, or he could in some way try to approach the people to bribe them or somehow coerce them into not making a plea deal public. The internet news outlet Gawker had the balls to expose the flight logs and the plea deal. This revealed a lot of shit and opened a can of worms that Dershowitz did not want out and available to the general public. This is the source of Bill Clinton being exposed as being on the flight list. This is the same flight log list that exposed Dershowitz as far back as December 1997, flying with unidentified females and vaguely named Hazel Clare. Ghislaine Maxwell was also on the flight. Maxwell is accused of procuring underage girls for Epstein. Her father is also an Israeli spy, was an early supporter of Zionism and the State of Israel's formation. He played a huge role in the arming of Israel in the 1948 war. He convinced his contacts in the Czech army to supply arms to Israel. He also mysteriously acquired finances to purchase the Mirror Group. The Mirror Group is an umbrella company that oversees or oversaw major British newspapers. Ghislaine has long been associated with Jeffrey Epstein, and it is through Ghislaine that Epstein and Prince Andrew became acquainted. She is pictured alongside the prince here with Virginia Roberts, who claims to have been coerced into engaging in underage sexual activity with him under Epstein's instructions. Virginia's sworn affidavit also claims she engaged in sexual activity with Dershowitz while being underage. Now keep in mind, Virginia's affidavit was given before the flight logs and Black Book was ever released to the public, so I can only come to the logical conclusion with the evidence presented that she is being truthful. Dershowitz has vehemently denied the allegations publicly and gone to great lengths to try to give a perception to the docile public that he is a man of integrity. Now, in defense of these allegations, Dershowitz has made some interesting statements. He lied about Virginia Roberts making up claims that she alleged she had sex with Bill Clinton, which she never did. He then used that lie to label her a liar in an attempt to discredit her. He then attacked her for being a prostitute. That's funny coming from a Jew. The founder of his religion, Abraham, pimped out his own wife. This is coming from a guy who helped O.J. Simpson escape justice, and he's also gone to great lengths to defend and gone to great lengths to protect Epstein and any co-conspirators of his from federal prosecution. The flight logs cast serious doubt on public statements made by Dershowitz in regards to his wife. Dershowitz told the American lawyer he is loyal to his wife, who is always by his side, stating, "I've been married to the same woman for 28 years. She goes with me everywhere. People know that I won't argue a case or give a speech unless my wife travels with me. This is not the profile of someone who screws around." Yet his wife's name is absent from any flight logs while Dershowitz travelled with Epstein. And for someone who claims he can remember he travels everywhere with his wife for the past 28 years, he claims he has no idea who any of the girls on the flight logs he travelled with on Epstein's plane are. When Dershowitz was confronted by his wife's name being absent from the flight logs, he then backtracked, stating, on occasions she's working or travels separately. He has also backtracked on other statements he's made regarding Epstein in the past before being convicted of pedophilia. He has changed his original story of how he first met Epstein. So Alan Dershowitz has conflicting stories on how he first met Jeffrey Epstein. He has claimed that he was introduced to him by Lady de Rothschild as an academic colleague. He, Epstein, was friendly with Larry Summers. He was the head of the World Bank. He was also Harvard president from 2001 to 2006. He's also involved with Genie Energy. Genie Energy is what I first heard from Jeremy Rothkushel. He called into the Alex Jones show and he mentioned Genie Energy and all these links, but I'll be putting something together with that because it's linked in with some other stuff, including this with Larry Summers. He's connected to all these same characters back to the Mega Group, Jacob Rothschild, Rupert Murdoch, these neocon Trotskyites, all connected together once again. And there is this Harvard University connection. We've got Les Wexner. He's a big contributor in controlling the university. He's got programs bringing Israeli students in to study at Harvard University and other universities as well. We've got Alan Dershowitz, obviously, he's a big part of Harvard University. We've got Epstein, he was a big contributor to some of the science programs. And we've got Larry Summers, who he was an academic, went on to become president of the university. The Lady de Rothschild, heavily involved, Jacob Rothschild. So some really big players. So I'll continue on with Alan Dershowitz claim of first meeting Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein, was friendly with Larry Summers. He was in the process of contributing $50 million to Harvard for evolutionary biology. And you've got to understand that Epstein, he isn't the money man. He's a front man for Les Wexner. He's a prodigy of Les Wexner. He has no businesses where he makes enough money to be contributing this amount. So this needs to be taken into consideration. Continuing. Yet in another statement he made regarding the first meeting with Epstein, he said, "It was just before Les Wexner's 60th birthday. My first substantive contact with him was to fly with him to Les Wexner's house to attend dinner with Shimon Peres and John Glenn." Now I'm going to be covering more on John Glenn and his relationship with Les Wexner in future videos. But for now we'll concentrate on Shimon Peres. So way back in 1997, Dershowitz reveals this very interesting detail that the Prime Minister of Israel, Shimon Peres, John Glenn, Jeffrey Epstein and himself were so well acquainted with each other and with Les Wexner that they were invited to his 60th birthday party. We know from Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book that Shimon Peres was a contact of Epstein's. It's also vitally important to remember that Virginia Roberts stated that she was instructed to engage in sexual activity with a well-known Prime Minister. Shimon Peres was a well-known Prime Minister. And we know that girls were recruited to attend parties, and they happened to be at Les Wexner's 60th birthday party together. Now the dates don't align for Virginia Roberts to have attended this party herself. So even if Peres wasn't sexually entrapped, he was inside Wexner's inner circle. Another interesting revelation from a contact in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book to the public is that another former Israeli Prime Minister contact information was found within it, that of Ehud Barak. The dates better align with Virginia Roberts' timeline. Ehud Barak, as he was Prime Minister of Israel from 1999 to 2001. 2001 was the same time period Virginia Roberts was a sex slave of Jeffrey Epstein's. On the morning of 9/11, Ehud Barak appeared on BBC, suggesting a Bin Laden group was behind the attack and the West needed to begin a war on terrorism worldwide. He went on to attack Iraq, Iran and Libya, labelling them rogue states in which posed a threat to Western civilization, and that the USA needed a missile defense system installed. Wow, how convenient is all that? It all seems to align with the Centre for Security Policy and Gatestone Institute and the Trotskyite neocons Zionist billionaire agenda that I've already begun to highlight in my earlier videos.
So you have Putin, he's sitting over here. And he's waiting to kill the stupid Americans because he's been just destroying us so badly.